Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, India bids farewell to its iconic MiG-21 fighter jet in a grand ceremony. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hails it as testimony of India-Russia relations. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar calls for zero tolerance towards terrorism, urges dialogue and diplomacy at G20 foreign ministers meet in New York. Come October 1st, US to impose 100% tariff on pharma products, along with tariffs on heavy-duty trucks and kitchen cabinets. And in Asia Cup, India to face Sri Lanka in Super 4 last game today in Dubai. Men in blue set to face Pakistan in mega clash and final on Sunday. The Indian Air Force on Friday bid farewell to its iconic MiG-21 fighter jets after a service span of 62 years. The final two MiG-21 squadrons, the number 23 Panthers and the number 3 Cobras, which together operated around 36 jets, retired in Chandigarh during a decommissioning ceremony. The MiG-21 fighter jet received a ceremonial water cannon, marking a symbolic end to its 6-decade-long tenure. The fact that the Soviet-era fighter, with its checkered history, has remained in service for so long is testimony to its enduring capabilities in front line of the Air Force. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh attended the event and paid tribute to the aircraft's legacy. In his address, the minister lauded the MiG-21's countless heroic feats during multiple conflicts and operations.
इतने लंबे समय तक MiG-21 अनेक वीरतापूर्ण कृत्यों का साक्षी रहा है। इसका योगदान किसी एक घटना तक या केवल एक युद्ध तक सीमित नहीं रहा है। 1971 के वार से लेकर कारगिल के युद्ध तक या फिर बालाकोट एयर स्ट्राइक से लेकर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर तक ऐसा कोई क्षण नहीं रहा जब MiG-21 ने हमारी आर्म्ड फोर्सेस को जबरदस्त मजबूती न प्रदान की हो।
The minister also said that MiG-21 is not only an aircraft or machine but also proof of deep India-Russia ties.
MiG-21 केवल एक एयरक्राफ्ट या मशीन भर ही नहीं है, बल्कि यह भारत और रशिया के बीच गहरे संबंधों का एक प्रमाण भी है। साथियों, एक तरफ तो मिलिट्री एविएशन का खुद का जो इतिहास है वह अपने आप में इनक्रेडिबल है ही, दूसरी तरफ MiG-21 ने मिलिट्री एविएशन की जर्नी में कई और प्राउड मोमेंट्स यानी गौरव के क्षण जोड़े हैं।
In a historic final flight, Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh took to the skies in the last MiG-21 sortie, flying with the call sign Badal 3. The aircraft belonged to number 23 Squadron, famously known as the Panthers. For decades, this aircraft was the backbone of India's aerial defence, serving in key conflicts from 1971 to the Balakot operations. An Indian Air Force tribute describes the aircraft as not just a fighter, but a symbol of resilience. highlighting the deep connection between the machine and the personnel who flew and maintained it. The farewell marks an emotional moment as the jet flies into the sunset, but the aircraft will not be sent to the scrapyard. As its engines fall silent, the MiG-21's legacy will be etched forever in the history of Indian Air Force. And my colleague Vishal Baristo is joining me from Chandigarh. Hi Vishal, as they say Vishal, old fighter jets don't die, they just fly into the sunset. What are you picking up, Vishal, from ground zero?
Well, absolutely, Siddharth, you put it very correctly. Here in Chandigarh, it's been a very, very emotional moment because the MiG-21 has served the Indian Air Force for 6 decades. And that's a huge time, that's a huge long time. And let me also tell you that when the Defense Minister was making his speech, he said that according to the Indian culture, we believe that the gods, they are there inside the machines as well. The Shara is coming, and we would be worshipping our arms and weapons there. This is a very Indian tradition.
Yes.
So today, as MiG-21 says goodbye, it also reminds us of the good work that this machine has done to us, starting from 1965 to 1971, then Kargil, then Balakot. In Balakot, it shot down F-16, and we all remember the historic of Abhinandan, and then came Operation Sindoor. So it's been a long journey, and it is now time for this beautiful machine to say goodbye. But before that, let me also tell you, as the Defense Minister made it very clear to the world, that this has been, MiG-21 has been a testimony of Indo-Russian defense cooperation.
Definitely, Vishal. And Vishal, Tejas fighter jets will take over now. Tell us a bit about them and the potential they hold.
Well, Siddharth, it's been a long journey. It's MiG-21. It's been the first supersonic fighter jet for Indian Air Force, and now it would be replaced by our own made in India Tejas. So we have different variants, 3 different variants of Tejas. Mark 1A, that they would also be there for Indian Navy, but before that they would be inducted, they would be replacing MiG-21 in the Indian Air Force. So Tejas would be taking place of the good old MiG-21. We still have MiG-29 and MiG-27. We also have Rafales, we also have Sukhoi, but it's time for MiG-21 to say goodbye.
Definitely. Vishal, I could see, if I'm not wrong, MiG-21 behind you. Can you please request your camera person to zoom on MiG-21, which India is bidding goodbye to?
I would ask Vish Bandhu to show you. And there you see the war veterans, the families of the Indian Air Force. They are taking pictures with this beautiful flying machine. They are all colored in the Indian flag, saffron, white and green, after having served the country for 6 long decades. It's time for this beautiful machine to say goodbye. And it's a very, very historic moment, because let me tell you, Siddharth, that from MiG-21 was inducted into the Indian Air Force, and from here only it is saying goodbye and saying farewell to the Indian Air Force, because it's been there for a very long time. It was being contemplated to replace this machine because of the technological advancements. Now Tejas would be taking its place, but nothing can be taken back from MiG-21, because MiG-21 has been the spine of Indian Air Force.
Definitely, Vishal, emotional moment, definitely, as you described. And I also said, you know, while we were having this conversation a while back, that old fighter jets don't die, they just fly into the sunset. And as we were seeing on the screens a while back, people were clicking pictures with MiG-21s. Really, really emotional moment there in Chandigarh. Vishal, at a time when the nation is walking on the path to become Atmanirbhar or self-reliant, how is India progressing in terms of its defense capabilities?
Well, absolutely, self-reliance has been the buzzword, and it has been the mantra ever since Prime Minister Narendra Modi took over the reins of the country. He has always focused upon Made in India, and defense is the sector that India has been really looking forward to, and that is why we have this Tejas. We already have 3 variants of Tejas, so India is making quite a good progress. From importer, India has become an exporter. India is exporting defense equipment to more than 90 odd countries. So definitely a big leap since 2014. And as far as Air Force is concerned, we already have Tejas now, which would be replacing MiG-21. But the Rafales are also with us. So India making huge progress as far as the military technology, military advancements are concerned. Siddharth?
All right, Vishal, thank you so much. We leave it there. A bilateral meeting took place today between India and Russia in New Delhi to take forward cooperation in the domain of agriculture. India's Minister of Agriculture, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, held talks with Deputy PM of Russia, Dmitry Patrushev. Addressing the media, Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan said he had a productive meeting with the Russian delegation. He said the talks focused key areas of mutual interest, including on better access for Indian agri-produce to Russian markets, removal of non-tariff barriers, cooperation in research and innovation, and encouraging student exchange programs.
हमने कृषि एवं खाद्य सुरक्षा के क्षेत्र में आपसी सहयोग, द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को संतुलित करने और तकनीकी साझेदारी को और मजबूत करने पर व्यापक चर्चा की है। हमने शोध और नवाचार पर भी व्यापक चर्चा की। आईसीआर और उनके समकक्ष संस्था के बीच व्यापक सहयोग पर चर्चा जारी है ताकि विज्ञान का, तकनीकी का आदान प्रदान हम लोग आपस में कर सकें।
In continuation of India's humanitarian assistance, a fresh consignment of humanitarian aid for Afghanistan following last month's devastating earthquake has reached Kabul via Chabar. The Ministry of External Affairs said that the latest shipment, consisting of 3 container loads of relief materials, had arrived in Afghan's capital via the Chabar port and was handed over to the authorities. The consignment includes a wide range of essential items such as food supplies, water purifiers, among other essential goods. This is the third batch of Indian assistance sent to support those affected by the earthquake. The 6.0 magnitude tremor claimed nearly 2,200 lives and displaced more than 23,000 people, making it one of the deadliest quakes to hit Afghanistan in recent decades. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar called for zero tolerance towards terrorism and urged the international communities to avoid any form of accommodation or indifference to terrorist activities.
A persistent threat to development is that perennial disruptor of peace, terrorism. It is imperative that the world display neither tolerance nor accommodation to terrorist activities. Given the extensive networking among terrorists, those who act against them on any front actually render a larger service to the international community as a whole.
Speaking at the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in New York on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, Dr. Jaishankar referred to the ongoing conflicts like Ukraine and Gaza. Jaishankar said that such geopolitical tensions directly impact global energy, food and fertilizer security, especially in the global south.
Our focus today is on the correlation between international peace and global development. In recent times, that is well established as both deteriorated in parallel. The costs, especially to the global south, in terms of energy, food and fertilizer security, were starkly demonstrated by ongoing conflicts, particularly in Ukraine and Gaza. Apart from jeopardizing supplies and logistics, access and costs themselves became pressure points on nations. Double standards are clearly in evidence.
He further said that the global peace and development have seen parallel deterioration in recent times.
Peace can certainly enable development, but by threatening development, we cannot facilitate peace. making energy and other essentials more uncertain in an economically fragile situation helps no one. Therefore, the way out is to move the needle towards dialogue and diplomacy, not in the opposite direction towards further complications.
India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar participated in the G4 Foreign Ministers meeting held in New York alongside his counterparts from Japan, Germany and Brazil. The ministers reiterated their long-standing demand for comprehensive reform of the United Nations, particularly the UN Security Council. Dr. Jaishankar, in a post on X, said, and I quote, "Glad to join G4 Foreign Ministers meeting along with colleagues Takeshi Iwaya, Johan Wadephul and Mauro Vieira in New York today." G4 reiterated its commitment to reforming the United Nations, including the UN Security Council. It also assessed the current state of the intergovernmental negotiation IGN process, unquote. Dr. Jaishankar held talks with Australian counterpart Penny Wong on the sidelines of G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in New York. Taking to social media platform X, the Australian Foreign Minister said, "Australia and India are important partners with strong ties of history and community. Australia's Indian diaspora makes a rich contribution to our national story." In a social media post, the Indian External Affairs Minister also stated about his conversation with Egyptian counterpart Dr. Badr Abdelati. Dr. Jaishankar also met the UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper on the sidelines of UNGA. The two leaders discussed follow-up from the recent successful visit of PM Narendra Modi, during which the two nations announced the Vision 2035. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu is to address the United Nations General Assembly today. Trump hints at lifting sanctions on Turkey. What's more? Stay tuned to know. First formal trial of ousted South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol opens.
In today's episode, let's take a look at how people are trying to live and survive with these complex emerging challenges.
Floodwaters submerge their shelters, snakes move to higher ground, which often means closer to people's homes. When a Sarpa support member rescues a snake, it truly means that the snake is rescued, not captured or injured.
When the flowing water becomes muddy and full of sand, it's a sign that there has been heavy rain in the hills and a flood may be on its way. We need a lot of bamboo to make a changhar, from making the pillars, walls, the raised platform to a false ceiling.
The main problem is the climate crisis. We've just had a few very wet months, but nature needs all that rain. What we need to secure groundwater capacity is rain in the fall and winter.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was expected to deliver a defiant message to the UN on Friday against a Palestinian state, but faces rare pressure from US President Donald Trump, who seeks a deal on Gaza. Netanyahu will address the United Nations General Assembly days after France, Britain and several other Western powers took the landmark step of recognizing a state of Palestine, acting out of exasperation over Israel's relentless two-year offensive in Gaza. The longest-serving Prime Minister in Israeli history has long rejected a Palestinian state, and his far-right allies have mulled annexing the West Bank to kill any real prospect of an independent Palestine. Meanwhile, Trump has warned against annexation as he pitches a peace plan on Gaza that would include the disarmament of Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Argentine President Javier Milei in New York on Thursday on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Milei, who maintains an international policy aligned with the United States and Israel, also met with US President Donald Trump. The Argentine president reaffirmed in recent days that his country will open its embassy in Jerusalem next year as a sign of support for Israel. Milei has also repeatedly declared his support for Trump, with whom he has already met since taking office in 2023. Meanwhile, European Council President Antonio Costa on Thursday urged world leaders at the United Nations to act collectively to confront major crises around the world. Speaking at the UN General Assembly, he called for the unconditional release of hostages and immediate ceasefire.
Peace in the Middle East requires a collective response, and we need everyone to assume their responsibilities. We must act together and demand the unconditional release of all hostages, an immediate ceasefire, full and unimpeded humanitarian access, an end to illegal settlements, a renewed, credible commitment to a two-state solution.
US President Donald Trump vowed to stop Israel from annexing the West Bank on Thursday as he presses to end the Gaza conflict. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump said he will not allow key ally Israel to annex the West Bank. Trump made the statement just minutes after updating that he had spoken with Netanyahu ahead of the Prime Minister's planned speech to the United Nations General Assembly.
We've had some really good talks today on Gaza with both the Middle East representatives and kings and all of the top leaders in the Middle East, and we had also a very good conversation with Bibi Netanyahu, trying to get the hostages back, and we're trying to get the end of the Gaza situation. It's really bad, very bad, and we think it could happen. Maybe it could happen pretty soon. We want the hostages back, we want the bodies back, and we want to have peace in that region. So we had some very good talks.
Meanwhile, the head of Yemen's Presidential Leadership Council, Rashid al-Alimi, called for the formation of an international coalition to restore peace and stability in Yemen during his address to the United Nations General Assembly on Thursday. Yemen has been split between a Houthi de facto administration in Sana'a and a Saudi-backed government in Aden since the Iran-aligned Houthis seized Sana'a in late 2014, triggering a decade-long conflict. Al-Alimi accused Iran of using the Houthis to further its expansionist agenda of turning Yemen into a hotspot for transnational terrorism and condemned the Houthis' tactics. Al-Alimi also criticized the United Nations for failing to protect its own staff detained in Houthi-controlled Sana'a. He emphasized that peace in Yemen cannot be achieved through diplomacy alone. President Donald Trump suggested that the US could lift sanctions on Turkey and allow it to buy F-35 jets as he met with Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan in the Oval Office on Thursday. The sanctions were imposed after Turkey's 2019 purchase of Russian S-400 missile defenses, which Washington viewed as incompatible with NATO systems. Erdogan's first visit to the White House in about 6 years comes at a time when Ankara is seen to take advantage of a US administration eager to make deals in return for big-ticket arms and trade agreements. However, tensions persist over Israel's actions in Gaza. Turkey has labeled the attacks as genocide, a stance sharply opposed by Washington, adding a layer of uncertainty to the otherwise transactional talks. Donald Trump even gave a reference to rigged elections, saying Erdogan knows about rigged elections better than anybody.
We've been friends for a long time, actually, even for 4 years when I was in exile, unfairly, as it turns out. Rigged election, he knows about rigged elections better than anybody. But when I was in exile, we were still friends. That's always a good way to find out. He's built a tremendous military, powerful military, uses a lot of our equipment, and it's an honor to have him.
US President Donald Trump on Thursday announced new tariffs on pharmaceuticals, big rig trucks, home renovation fixtures and furniture. Trump in social media posts stated that the US will be imposing a 100% tariff on any branded or patented pharmaceutical product unless a company is building their pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in America. He added there will therefore be no tariff on these pharmaceutical products if construction has started. The announcement also covers other imports, including a 50% tariff on kitchen cabinets, 30% to upholstered furniture and 25% to heavy trucks. The new tariff rates will be implemented from the 1st of October. US President also said that the United States would give proceeds from tariffs revenues to farmers.
And we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers, who are, for a little while, going to be hurt until it kicks in. The tariffs kick into their benefit. So we're going to make sure that our farmers are in great shape because we're taking in a lot of money. We're finding, the other day, it was very interesting, they found 31 billion.
Australia's Health Minister Mark Butler criticised the Trump administration, saying tariffs were unfair, unjustified.
The core objective of the US administration is to lower drug prices in their own country, and they're using tariffs as a tool to try and achieve that objective, which is a matter between the US administration and big pharma companies, whether they're American or non-American companies. I guess our job now is to protect the interests of Australians, most importantly Australian patients who have benefited for almost 80 years from the PBS, a great Labor legacy from the 1940s, and also to do what we can to support Australian companies who might be hit by what we regard as unfair, unjustified tariffs after 20 years of free trade.
Following the Trump statement on Israel, Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, who attended the meeting with Trump, said he believes the president understands very well the risks and dangers of annexation in the West Bank.
What I can say about the meeting with President Trump, which I think was a very important meeting, is that the Arab and Muslim countries made very clear to the President the danger of annexation of any type in the West Bank and the risk that poses not just to the potential of peace in Gaza, but also to any sustainable peace at all. And I feel confident that President Trump understood the position of the Arab and Muslim countries, and I think the President in the US understands very well the risks and dangers of annexation in the West Bank.
Ousted South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol is back in court facing new obstruction charges. He had previously boycotted several weeks of a separate trial where he is accused of leading a failed military coup. Yoon appeared after over 2 months out of public view in prison, citing health reasons. The former president denies all wrongdoing, calling the investigations politically motivated. Conviction could bring over 3 years in prison, adding to possible life or death sentences on insurrection charges. 4 people were reported dead in Philippines as authorities evacuated 400,000 people on Friday after a fresh storm battered the country. Already battered by Ragasa, a large number of people still remain displaced. Severe tropical storm Bualoi is sweeping the province at sustained speeds of 110 kilometers per hour, uprooting trees and shattering a wall that killed 3 people in Luzon, Bicol region. The storm has caused widespread damage in the country, uprooting trees, toppling cable lines, damaging roads and buildings, informed an official in a press meet. And let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. In Mexico City, a new museum named Casa Kahlo, dedicated to Frida Kahlo, a famous Mexican painter, has been inaugurated. The museum showcases personal spaces, family photographs, letters, and artifacts that highlight her life beyond the canvas. The museum will be open to public on 27th of September. Newly released footage from Chengdu's star giant panda nursery shows a caretaker tenderly cradling a newborn panda cub. Born with greyish hair tone, these cubs typically develop the iconic black and white coat of the giant panda at the age of 1. Six months after a 7.7 magnitude earthquake hit Myanmar, access to clean water remains a critical lifeline for affected communities. An estimated 4.3 million people still need safe water and sanitation support, with only 20% of residents in the hardest hit Thagijing region able to access safe drinking water. Apple CEO Tim Cook welcomed excited fans at the reopening of the redesigned Tokyo Ginza store. Hundreds of enthusiasts lined up outside, taking selfies and high-fiving Cook as they entered the flagship store. And still to come on the Indian News Hour, we will discuss India's rise of defense domain in detail. Next, we take you inside the 7-day jumbo picnic at Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve. Starbucks shake-up in North America will close down underperformers.
Many cities in India still carry forward the wonderful legacy of a glorious past. These ancient cities were once center for power, culture and religion. Revisit them in our special series. Forever Cities starts with Patliputra on Friday, 26th September at 8:30 p.m. IST.
In today's episode, let's take a look at how people are trying to live and survive with these complex emerging challenges.
Floodwaters submerge their shelters, snakes move to higher ground, which often means closer to people's homes. When a Sarpa support member rescues a snake, it truly means that the snake is rescued, not captured or injured.
When the flowing water becomes muddy and full of sand, it's a sign that there has been heavy rain in the hills and a flood may be on its way. We need a lot of bamboo to make a changhar, from making the pillars, walls, the raised platform to a false ceiling.
The main problem is the climate crisis. We've just had a few very wet months, but nature needs all that rain. What we need to secure groundwater capacity is rain in the fall and winter.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and a quick recap of the headlines. India bids farewell to its iconic MiG-21 fighter jet in a grand ceremony. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hails it as testimony of India-Russia relations. India's External Affairs Minister Jaishankar calls for zero tolerance towards terrorism, urges dialogue and diplomacy at G20 Foreign Ministers meet in New York. Come October 1st, US to impose 100% tariff on pharma products, along with tariffs on heavy-duty trucks and kitchen cabinets. And in Asia Cup, India to face Sri Lanka in Super 4 last game today in Dubai. Men in Blue set to face Pakistan in mega clash and final on Sunday. From Nal Air Base in Chandigarh, the Indian Air Force salutes a legend for one last time. The MiG-21, India's first supersonic fighter, wasn't just an aircraft. It was a symbol of a young nation's confidence, a fearless guardian that carried the Air Force into the jet age.
Inducted in 1963, India ordered a total of 874 MiG-21s of different variants, making the aircraft Indian Air Force's backbone for several decades. The MiG-21, with its Mach 2 speed and versatility, defend, strike and scout. It bridged the gap from propeller-era fighters to modern jets and trained generations of Indian pilots in supersonic combat.
As we listen to the experiences of those who lived and breathed this machine, we will try to capture not just the history of this aircraft, but the story of an era that shaped the Indian Air Force. I quote Air Marshal P.C. Lal, who said, "The MiG-21 gave the IAF wings it never had before." Unquote.
Thousands of our Air Force professionals have shared an important part of their lives with the MiG-21, and I am proud to be one among them. We respectfully remember those who taught us the aircraft to learn and to respect it. I recall the camaraderie and memorable time that we nurtured under its wings, that reminded us often that it is the team that matters.
The jet first saw action in 1965 war, but its true moment came in 1971. In the Battle of Boira, MiG-21s engaged Pakistani Sabres and a starfighter, scoring victories in the world's first supersonic dogfight. From striking enemy airfields in Dhaka to providing cover for troops, the MiG-21 proved decisive in securing the skies. Former Chief of the Indian Air Force, Air Chief Marshal P.V. Nayak recalls the role the MiGs played in protecting the nation.
MiG-21 has always been my first love. And in the MiG-21s, the Type 77 Ultimate, the Ferrari of MiG-21s. I was lucky. We were about 3 or 4 people who were selected from pilot officer days to convert onto MiG-21s and fly them.
We fell in love with the aircraft as soon as we reported in Tezpur. The simplicity of the aircraft, and not only that, we were surprised. The checks and procedures were, simpler than the aircraft we had flown previously, easier to learn.
Decades later, in Kargil, upgraded MiG-21 Bison struck enemy positions at high altitudes. And even in 2019, during Balakot, they stood ready at the front line.
The MiG-21 taught us how to be innovative, to make do with what we have and produce results.
For more than 60 years, the MiG-21 flew countless missions, guarding borders, supporting troops, and inspiring generations. Today, the Flying Falcon bows out. Replaced by homegrown Tejas, its roar may fade, but its spirit of speed, skill, and sacrifice will forever echo across India's skies. Vishal Barristo, DD India, Chandigarh.
In the past several years, India's defence prowess has grown at an exceptional pace. As the country advances on its journey towards Atmanirbharta or self-reliance, the defence sector has witnessed a massive boom, reflecting the broader upward trajectory of India's rise. To talk more on this, we are joined by Air Marshal Rajiv Sachdeva. Sir, a very warm welcome to DD India News Hour. As they say, old jets are not retired, they just fly into sunset. MiG-21 retires today. They played a critical role, as we all know, in several conflicts, from Kargil conflict to Balakot airstrikes to Operation Sindoor. Your reaction?
First of all, thank you very much for calling me in. And let me clarify to everybody that I'm not a MiG pilot. I missed out on the MiG because my sitting height was more, so I could not go to the MiGs when I was to be going to actually flying missions.
You missed that, sir?
Let me tell you, there is no fighter pilot today in Indian Air Force who was born after 1960 who's not flown this aircraft. Every fighter pilot is so proud of this aeroplane. They have flown because there were 20 odd squadrons, and every batchmate of mine, plus minus, everybody has been flying the MiG-21s, and they swear by this aircraft. And we have seen the MiG-21 proving itself in all the missions which it has gone in, and the kind of the jet age which came into the India was shocking for the adversaries, because we proved ourselves in every combat which these aeroplanes were used in.
Right, definitely. Also, sir, while heaping praise on MiG-21, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today said that they are not just merely an aircraft. It's a testimony of India-Russia relations. So how do you see the relation between both the countries as far as cooperation in air power is concerned?
See, today we're flying the American aeroplanes. You can see one behind me. We have about 12 of them, and there's another 11 which has come from a C-17 batch, and then we have some Chinooks and Apaches, which are American, maybe dozens. And similarly, the Rafales, we have about 36 of them, 26 more coming from Navy and so on. 800 plus aeroplanes of one type with 600 manufactured in India. That's the relationship we are talking about. So, and thereafter we went on to Sukhois, MiG-23, 25, 27, 29 and Sukhois built in India. So that's the relationship which you are referring to with India, Russia. No other country can give you 800 aeroplanes to a then third world country, and to be manufactured and flown and actually into combat. So the relationship with Russia was really, really solid when we got these MiG-21s, and they've proven us.
Definitely. A while back, sir, you were just saying that you couldn't fly MiG-21 because of several reasons. We would just want to ask your personal experience. Do you miss it?
Again?
Asking you that you told us that you couldn't fly MiG-21.
Because when we finished our training, we were all supposed to be selected for either the fighter.
So you missed that, sir? You missed that?
So I did not go to the fighter stream because my sitting height for all varieties of MiGs was half a centimeter more. So I was a little taller on the seat side than my leg side. So I could not go to the MiG. But I went to the transport fleet where I flew the Avros. The first Avro built by India flew on 1st November 1961. Another aeroplane, a transport aeroplane, flying since 1961. MiG is flew since 1963. We have a helicopter which is flying since 1962. So Indian Air Force is capable of maintaining flying machines, flying worthy way back on 1961, 62, 63. So that's the capability of IF, be it transport fighters or helicopters.
Definitely. How do you react to the Indian Air Force's prowess, especially from the past few years?
Indian Air Force now is modernizing. I've been involved as a SASO when we were inducting the Tejas into the Indian Air Force, the 45 squadron which came up in Sulur. And that day we just had 2 Tejas, and now we have a good amount of Tejas that we have 2 to 3 squadrons that we can write off. We can actually give rest to the MiG-21s. The best way the rest has been given to a MiG-21 is 6 of them flying today with the chief himself flying. That's a confidence the Air Force had in these machines, maintained by our own technical team. Definitely. And that's what Indian Air Force is. I mean, an aeroplane which is 60 years old and an aeroplane which is 6 days old is equally well maintained to be flying worthy. That's the Indian Air Force today.
Definitely. Definitely. We were talking to a correspondent, sir. He was there in Chandigarh. He was attending the ceremony, and we also saw some shots, wherein people were clicking pictures. It was a really emotional moment there.
You listen to any MiG pilot, whether he's retired recently or he's retired 10 years ago or he's flying today, each one of them is emotionally attached to this aeroplane. There is no way. I mean, you have slept, dreamt, fought wars with this aeroplane. You have to fall in love. I heard one of the veterans saying that he'd like to kiss every part, every instrument of this aeroplane. That's what the pilots do with their lovebirds. We actually love to kiss every part of the aeroplane.
Definitely.
That's why they were clicking pictures and with their families. I was seeing the wife standing next to them and getting the pictures clicked because his house must be full of MiG-21 pictures all over. So what if he's migrated to Rafales after that or Tejas after that or Jaguars? But MiG-21 was a basic aircraft with every fighter pilot of Indian Air Force for the last 40, 50 years have flown.
And also, sir, it's a sign of respect when you say you want to kiss every part of the fighter jet, isn't it? From the past few years, sir, India has seen a big jump in domestic defense manufacturing. So much so that now other countries are willing to not just collaborate in this sector, but also buy our made in India arms. How is this contributing to country's economy? I want to know this from you.
See, we are down to 29 fighter squadrons today, and we are authorized 42 squadrons. So that means there is a void which is now known to the world, that we have so many squadrons worth of void which is available. Tejas is coming slow because of the engines and whatever are the reasons with the HAL, and now they are collaborating with so many other private players so that the Tejas induction can happen faster than what is happening as of now. Now, when you collaborate with so many private partners who are Indians and Indian firms, definitely the India is it's going to impact the GDP. I remember a few years ago, though I'm not in the share market, but I remember that somebody was mentioning that HAL shares were nowhere. Today, the HAL shares are soaring. Why? Because the HAL is producing aeroplanes. If they were to give you Tejas after Tejas and Lanka and 1A and Mark IIs and so on, and they're giving you the trainer aircraft to patch up with the Pilatus, I think the Indian market is doing well. And not only that, the private industry is jumping in. You have big players in India. We have very big billionaires who have invested in you, making the The airframes of so many aircraft and cockpits all over the world in India. Now you're making C295 will start production. All the 16 C295 which was supposed to come from Airbus Spain have already arrived, and next 40 are going to be made in India. Now that's the kind of market and that's the kind of demand which India has. And yes, we are falling short of aeroplanes, so we will. Like I was mentioning about the Avro has flown for 63, 64 years. And replacement has come as C295, when all 56 are in, then maybe the Avros will go and then we'll start looking for replacement for AN32, which is also across 40 years. Similarly, Jaguars have lived their life. They came in 1980s. They've also done so much. So India has a big demand already lined up. Money available. We are a rich country. Money available. Somebody has to produce it and give it to us. That's how the private and the public have to get together and meet our demands. Why go out when we can do it in-house?
Definitely, sir. And we leave it there. Thank you so much for joining in on DD India News Hour. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Mukhyamantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana, an employment scheme in Bihar, via video conferencing on Friday. Under the scheme, the first installment of 10,000 rupees per beneficiary through direct benefits transfer will be made to 75 lakh women in the East Indian state of Bihar. So far, 11.5 million women have applied to be the beneficiary of this scheme. After inauguration, Prime Minister Modi also addressed the women beneficiaries of the scheme.
12 साल पहले जनधन योजना का संकल्प अगर हमने न लिया होता, अगर देश ने जनधन योजना के तहत बहनों बेटियों के 30 करोड़ से ज्यादा खाते न खुलवाए होते, इन बैंक खातों को आपके मोबाइल और आधार से न जोड़ा होता, तो क्या आज इतने पैसे हम सीधे आपके बैंक खातों में भेज पाते?
President Draupadi Murmu conferred the National Geoscience Awards 2024 at a ceremonial function at Rashtrapati Bhavan Cultural Center in New Delhi on Friday. Given in 3 categories of National Geoscience Award for Lifetime Achievement, National Geoscience Award and National Young Geoscientist Award. These awards recognize extraordinary achievements and outstanding contributions in various fields of geosciences. Speaking on the occasion, President Murmu said that geoscientists play a crucial role in utilizing natural resources for the nation's development.
आज मैं जीएसआई से जुड़े सभी भूतपूर्व और वर्तमान वैज्ञानिकों को बधाई देती हूं, जिनके योगदान से भारत की विकास यात्रा को आधार और गति प्राप्त हुई है। हमने भारत को वर्ष 2047 तक एक विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने का संकल्प लिया है। इस संकल्प की प्राप्ति में पारंपरिक खनिज पदार्थों के साथ साथ रीज के मामले में हमारी आत्मनिर्भरता अहम भूमिका निभाएगी। मुझे विश्वास है कि खान मंत्रालय, जीएसआई के सभी भागीदार इस राष्ट्रीय लक्ष्य की प्राप्ति में अपना अहम योगदान देंगे।
Let's take a look at other stories making news. Union Home Minister Amit Shah inaugurated a Durga Puja Pandal with a special theme on patriotism titled Operation Sindoor, honouring the martyrs of Pahalgam attack at Santosh Mitra Square. Kolkata's Chetla Agrani Durga Puja Pandal is showcasing the scene of Samudra Manthan with a massive shivling at its centre, crafted from over 3 crore Rudraksh beads. The Pandal design also draws inspiration from the Mahakumbh Mela and Bengali literature, while live performances with Damru and Tasha add to the spiritual ambience. In Madhya Pradesh's Umaria district, a 7-day jumbo picnic has kicked off at Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve. The event includes bathing and health checkups for elephants, ensuring their care and well-being. Chief Election Commissioner of Bangladesh on Thursday ruled out the possibility of introducing the proportional representation system in the upcoming national elections without necessary legal reforms. While speaking to the press, the CEC clarified that the current representation of the people order does not permit the adoption of the PR system, under which seats in parliament are allocated to parties based on their share of the vote. The comments come amid demands from Jamaat-e-Islami and other Islamist parties and civil society groups for adopting proportional representation as a way to ensure broader inclusion in Bangladesh's political process. India's reputation as the world's trusted pharmacy is reaching new markets. Following strong signals from Dutch health officials at a major expo in New Delhi, the Netherlands is now looking to import more Indian generic medicines. From the Netherlands, here's a special report.
Here in the Netherlands, Indian generic medicines are gaining ground. With rising concerns over supply shortages and market dependence, Dutch health officials are turning to India, the world's trusted pharmacy, for affordable, high-quality drugs. As European countries look to strengthen their medicine supply chains, the Netherlands is turning more and more to India, a global leader in affordable, high-quality generics. With Dutch demand rising and strong government interest, new opportunities are opening up for Indian pharmaceutical companies like Sun Pharma behind me.
There is a increased requirement of chronic medicines, very specialty drugs like oncology and immunology. So India has a strength in generic medicines, in low volume, high value oncology or immunology products. So that's the biggest, I would say, opportunity for India to supply and be a reliable partner for generic medicines. At the same time, any Indian pharma company which want to distribute medicine in Europe, Netherlands can become a gateway for them because of the fantastic road and distribution networks. So that's again one more opportunity for Indian pharma to have a collaboration with the Dutch market.
With one of the highest generic medicines uptakes in Europe, the Netherlands offers a stable and promising market. For Indian companies like Sun Pharma, this is not just about exports, it's about trusted partnerships, meeting high European standards and contributing to accessible healthcare worldwide. What does this growing partnership between India and the Netherlands mean for the future of Indian drug exports to Europe?
Yes, the impact is both way. From the Netherlands perspective, Netherlands is of course seeking to find a strong partner who can supply generic and a biosimilar with a reliable supply chain. And from the Indian perspective, this is the Indian pharma company also have to show commitment that they can be a reliable supplier. For Indian companies also, this is the opportunity to diversify their exports. You know, this can be a really alternative for the exports of the big pharma companies, and Netherlands can function as a European hub or a gateway for the European market.
Mark Limburg reporting from Hoofddorp, the Netherlands, for DD India.
In a bid to revive companies flagging sales, Starbucks announced that it would close underperforming stores in North America, including its iconic Seattle roastery, as CEO Brian Niccol presses ahead with his restructuring effort, expected to cost around $1 billion. The coffee chain's overhaul US and Canada store, the count is expected to drop by 1% by the end of 2025 fiscal year. Niccol is trying to restore the chain's coffee house feel to bring customers back to its outlets after 6 consecutive quarters of declining US sales. Talks between Starbucks and the workers' union began last April but have hit a wall since. And you're watching DD India News. Our time now for sport. Dubai gears up for another Asia Cup Super 4 clash, but this one carries little weight in terms of qualification. India have already booked their spot in September 28 final, where they will face arch rivals Pakistan. Sri Lanka, meanwhile, have been eliminated from the race, making this contest effectively a dead rubber.
Surya Kumar Yadav's men have stamped their authority in Dubai, defeating Pakistan and Bangladesh in Super 4s. India, though, will still look to fine-tune their combinations ahead of the title clash. Abhishek Sharma and Shubman Gill continue to provide explosive starts, while Jasprit Bumrah and Kuldeep Yadav remain India's most reliable match winners with the ball. For Sri Lanka, pride is all that remains at stake. Led by Charita Sri Lanka have shown flashes of fight but lacked consistency. The Sri Lankan players have shown promise, but it wasn't enough to take them through. Historically, India have dominated this rivalry. India has won 4 of the last 5 T20Is against Sri Lanka, including a dramatic super over win in July 2024. Yet Sri Lanka's knack for producing upsets in knockout games has kept their rivalry alive. India prepare for a high-voltage final against Pakistan, while Sri Lanka play only for pride. Still, fans in Dubai can expect sparks as 2 cricketing heavyweights share the stage again.
India may have cruised into the final unbeaten, but the job is far from done. With form still to peak and combination to sharpen, the Sri Lanka clash is more about preparation than points. As Suryakumar Yadav's men's eye the ultimate prize on Sunday. With camera person SP Dubey, Mukesh Shukla reporting from Dubai for DD India.
The 5th day of Navratri is being celebrated with great zeal and fervour across India on Friday. This vibrant festival is being celebrated in unique ways, one of them being Garba celebrations, where people from Gujarat showcase their love for this traditional Gujarati dance form. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.
Many cities in India still carry forward the wonderful legacy of a glorious past.